What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Martial Arts Monday review. And this week we're taking a look at 1996's Black Mask, starring Jet Li. This is a film that I had very fond memories of, and when it came time for Top 3 Thursday to come up with my favorite comic book adaptations that were made into films, I put this one on the short list. You know, I would have thought it would have been, the original Spider-Man, Iron Man, maybe one of the Avengers movies. I don't know. As far as rewatchability, this is the one that I wanted to go with. This is the one that I felt like should be on the list. Having rewatched it, I'm not sure. Maybe it would have been like 4th or 5th or in the top 10 at least. But I did enjoy rewatching it, and I have some thoughts on it. Because what we have here, and this is the same version that I saw back then. It was dubbed, it was edited a little bit for American audiences with a different soundtrack. And as far as the dated aspect, boy, the soundtrack. I mean, I know people still do it, scratching and using a turntable and stuff. It's not like that. That's gone away, but that was huge back then. And I mean, that is like, it's almost throughout the movie. It just doesn't stop. It goes on and on. They have a whole special feature about the music. You can listen to it. And that was sort of a trend back then. If you remember my review of The Protector with Tony Jaa, that was the soundtrack was redone for the Western release by the RZA, who supervised that. That was a couple years after this. So I would very much like to see a re-release of this with both versions, because apparently some of the beginning credits were edited pretty heavily. And right off the bat, I knew the action was incredible, and that, physics does, it's one of these movies that, the law of physics is not going to apply here. This guy's a super soldier, and he's Jet Li also. He can do anything. People are, just jumping from building to building and all kinds of crazy stuff. But the beginning is really crazy. I mean, there's a box hanging from a chain from the ceiling for some reason. And he just like jumps in it, and then he's in it, and then he's spinning around, and they're shooting at him, but I guess because he's Jet Li, the bullets miss him. Well, apparently that's one of the scenes that was kind of edited from the original Hong Kong release, which does run about 10 minutes longer. So I would love to get a release with both versions. And also, there is a Black Mask 2, and I just looked it up. I almost started to watch it a couple months ago, but I just looked it up. Now I have to watch it just based on the cast. I mean, it's crazy. They got Scott Adkins in there, Tobin Bell. Black Mask was produced by Tsui Hark and directed by Daniel Lee. The second one is just directed by Hark. So it does not have Jet Li returning as Black Mask, however. But it looks like it could be fun. So I would love to have a release of both films and both versions of this film, because I think the fans would be very curious to see the original version, subtitled and everything. Anyway, the plot is very simple. He's an ex sort of government super soldier from something called Squad 701. These guys were used for all kinds of dirty work. The leader, Commander Kong, got kind of out of control. Now, I thought, my memory was that since Anthony Wong is in this film, that he would be the villain, but he's not. Commander Hung, is played by, his name is Kong Lung. And Anthony Wong plays like a drug dealer, okay, who sort of goes around the bend. So it is a good role for Anthony Wong, because what happens is Jet Li escapes from this super soldier compound. He has a relationship with Yuk Lan, played by Francois Yip, who would co-star with him in Romeo Must Die, I believe. She was also in Rumble in the Bronx. And he doesn't know what happened to her, and then he changes his identity and just tries to have a quiet life as a librarian, okay, where he works with a woman named Tracy, played by the lovely Karen Mok, a very talented actress and singer, who kind of has a crush on him. And his only friend is an inspector, Rock Shek Wai, played by Ching Wan Lao. He looks like a grizzled, police sergeant. He very much looks the part of a guy whose nickname would be Rock. They play chess together and stuff. And eventually, Jet Li's character, of course, has to spring back into action, because when he starts to pick up on the fact that his partner, his friend, not his partner, is in over his head, and then they start to figure out, hey, who are you? How do you know this stuff? How do you know how to defuse bombs? How do you know how to take an electronic toy, or I forget what he took, smash it, take the wires out, and in 30 seconds defuse a bomb? You know, how do you know how to do that? And he says, "Oh, I read it in the library because I'm a librarian." Well, he doesn't really believe that. I'm all over the place here, but bear with me. So yeah, so this bad guy, Commander Hung, he just starts taking out all these bad guys. He starts with like the bad guys, and he sends like body parts to Anthony Wong. It's pretty grisly. He opens up a case, and there's the legs of somebody he's related to, and then he's got all these bags hanging from hooks, and he's like, my brother's in this one, my so-and-so's in this one, and they sent an empty bag for me. So he's like, he knows that the bad guys are coming for him, and he's a little wacky. And essentially, he just ends up helping the police sergeant deal with this crazy gang of former super soldiers and the commander, who wants to basically take over using with a reign of terror. I mean, he wants to he's got a scheme. He's got all kinds of explosives. These guys come in, you know, on wires and stuff, and they're like super soldiers, so they're really good fighters and everything. The Yuk Lan character is still sort of working with the bad guy, but of course she sees Jet Li. They sort of meet again, and some sparks fly, but it's not really clear whose side she's on until sort of the end. Meanwhile, the girl from the library, played by Karen Mok, gets taken hostage at one point. She's very spunky and resourceful, but she needs to be rescued. And, you know, it's just lots of crazy over-the-top action. You know, fighting on railings, on ledges. There's lots of explosions. Some of the explosions are okay. Some of them are a little CGI enhanced. Yeah, and some of the action is pretty over the top. Obviously, they had some people flying around on wires. But it is very entertaining, and it goes by pretty quick. I don't have much more to say about it. It has a pretty satisfying conclusion. And if you like turntables and scratching, you're going to love this. Yeah, Black Mask. Have you guys seen it? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. One more thing. Interestingly enough, the dub version features Dwight Schultz, you know, from the A-Team and Star Trek Next Generation, Lieutenant Barclay. What else was that movie? Alone in the Dark. Very well-regarded actor. He does the voice for the bad guy, in kind of a raspy kind of a voice. I didn't recognize any of the other voice actors. But very solid film. And obviously, as I mentioned before in my Top 3 Thursday, the mask is very iconic. The mask and hat, you know, he does it for utilitarian purposes, to be hidden, because he doesn't want people to know who he is, because he's has to work with his and sometimes get his police buddy out of trouble. So he puts on this mask and everything, and it's clearly an homage to Bruce Lee's Kato character, and it's even referenced. They're interviewing someone on the news, and they say, "Oh, we saw this guy wearing a mask out, you know, like Kato from Green Hornet." So, you know, nice to see that homage there, and just a pretty fun one. Like I said, I would love to see the other version of this, the original version, and I think I'm going to go watch the sequel right now. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Come back again for another Martial Arts Monday review. Thanks. Later.